Yeah, my Pueblo sister Reyes. Yat Yat Melanie Yazzie nisha. Bilagana nishle ma adeshkini bashes chin. Bilagana dashe cherot chotsoni dashe nale. Bahogere de nasha kot az aden nishle. It's important for me to establish with my Dene relatives in this crowd today, primarily because it's our communities and it's my relatives who are on the eastern side of the Navajo Nation who are being directly impacted by these leases in the Farmington and Rio Parco field offices. And so I just want to let you know that even though my family doesn't come from that part necessarily, that I'm here in solidarity today with all of our Diné people. And so something I wanted to start with a bit of a history story, and I won't talk for longer than 5 minutes, I promise. And I'll talk about why history is important for what we're doing today in this moment. And so I want to start my comments today with Fred Johnson. Who knows who Fred Johnson is? Hey, read a book. Hey, Mario's got his hand up. Fred was one of the founding members of the Coalition for Navajo Liberation. In 1978, over 1,000 people led by the Coalition for Navajo Liberation occupied and closed down all oil operations in Anif, the main center of oil drilling at that time in the Diné Nation. They occupied the oil fields for 17 days until all 4 oil companies, Texaco, Superior, Continental, and Phillips, agreed to 18 demands to curb the company's abuse and disrespect of the Diné people, their livestock, and their land. 4 years earlier, in the summer of 1974, the Coalition for Navajo Liberation marched on Farmington to protest the murders of 3 Navajo men in that notoriously racist reservation border town. In response to their protests, the U.S. Civil Rights Commission held a hearing, and this is what Fred Johnson said at that hearing. Our clean waters are clouded with silt and the wastes of the white man. Mother Earth is being ravaged and squandered. To the Navajo people, it seems as if these Europeans hate everything in nature: the grass, the birds, the beasts, the water, the soil, and the air. We refuse to abandon our beautiful land. To Navajos, land was something no one could possess, any more than he could possess the air. Land is sacred to the Navajos. It is part of the Almighty's design for life. Mother Earth, she is the mother of all things. To the whites, this is paganism and communistic, and it has to be eradicated. All the laws and federal regulations in existence cannot justify the criminal acts of tribal officials who knowingly deceive those who have placed their trust in them. To protest is to speak out against, to let it be known that you don't like a certain action. To protest is an act of intellectual commitment. To protest is to hate the inhumanity of another. To resist, we believe, is to stop inhumanity and affirm our own humanity. The Coalition for Navajo Liberation intends to stop the land robberies known as gasification plants, the TG&E power line, the Black Mesa destruction of the land, the Four Corners power plants, and the Exxon uranium deal. Now that was a long quotation, and that was given in 1974, which is 44 years ago. And they occupied those oil fields in Anif, which is in the very same region of the Navajo Nation, almost exactly 40 years ago to when we're standing here today in 2018, right? And here we are again. Here we are again, protesting the inhumanity of others. And what we do as the Red Nation is we pick up that mantle. It was called Red Power. I'm not sure if that's what we're doing today, but we pick up the mantle of those who struggled and gave their lives in some cases 40 years ago in the Coalition for Navajo Liberation, in the American Indian Movement. We got this flag back here, right? We carry that mantle forward. And as others have said, our incredible elders who've spoken already, all of us in the Red Nation, we're warriors. And that's not just like a label that we wear. We understand our history, and we understand that here we are 40 years later, fighting the exact same corporations, right? Fighting the exact same devastation that's happening to our land. And so I just want to reiterate what our elders said. I just want to reiterate that we are rising up, and that this action and all actions the Red Nation does is for our people. It's to inspire our people, to give our people the confidence to rise up again, like our people did 40 years ago, and to refuse to back down until liberation is actually achieved. And I want to say one more thing. The coalition, I'm a historian, right? I write about this history. It's part of the reason why I know it. And our relatives 40 years ago, they actually weren't talking about environmental justice, really. They weren't necessarily talking about clean water in the same ways that the kind of language that we use today. They understood the origin of this devastation and of this violence as capitalism and as colonialism. And I would like to encourage everyone today to remember that what we are actually trying to overthrow are capitalism and colonialism. And something we say in the Red Nation, I'm going to do an action. We say our fists are the size of our hearts, and our hearts belong to the people. Yeah.